There we go. All right. I think I'm using the new I'm using the new I don't know live thingy that they have in Facebook, and it might actually be working. So let's try it. So hello everybody, and welcome to the Smallholder Food Business Development Institute podcast episode number 82. I think I just said. So excited to be here with you to do this podcast. And today I want to do a short podcast, and then I'm going to do office hours. And I'm actually going to answer a question we just got in the Proving Backs on live office hours, just because I want to show people how this actually works. But before we start that, I want to do a couple of announcements. And so the first thing is that I want to make sure everybody knows that I have a offer out to all veterans. If you don't know, I'm a veteran by now. I'm in fact a veteran, and I have an offer to veterans about working with me in my coaching group called the Power Group. There's a great group of us, and we are doing some pretty amazing work. And the offer is for pay what you think it's worth, right? And so if you're interested in that, get on a blueprint call with me, all right? And we can talk about it. And when I say pay what you think it's worth, I really do mean it. I really do mean it, okay? Because I know that I know that it can be scary to commit to building your business, and I know that there are so many veterans out there who are interested in agriculture, who are interested in growing and creating their business. And I'm here for you, frankly. I'm here for you, and it's pay what you think it is worth. Now, because I rolled that out last quarter, I guess. And then this quarter, I am rolling out a money back guarantee. Okay. So 90 days working with me, coming into the Power Group, doing the work in the Power Group, getting on coaching calls with me 30 minutes every week, plus all the work that we do in the Power Group, like all the awesome stuff in the workbook, right? I've started working on my May workbook, and it's pretty rad. And I really pretty much love it. And so we do all of that, and that all comes with a money back guarantee. So if you are on the fence and like not sure whether or not you want to work with me and you want to do the work of coaching, I totally get it. I totally get it. And I think I'm probably the only coach in this space. I also totally get that. And so I'm making it super easy for y'all to come in and really work with me and get the work done. And I'm so committed to this, guys, that I am willing to put in the time, right, and the effort, and put the money on the line, because we're all about building wealth and community here. And I am so all in on my clients' dreams and willing to give a money back guarantee. And it feels amazing. I love being able to say that. I love the process that got me there to be able to make that sort of commitment to the marketplace. So book a call. I'm going to put the call link in the notes. I probably should have that memorized, but I don't, because I don't always work that way. However, it is pretty easy for you to come on over to the Proving Box on Facebook, which is where I am recording this. There you go. There's the book a call link in the comments. And I'm sure I have a book a call link posted as an announcement, along with our other announcement about resources during coronavirus. So that's all pretty rad. The other thing I want to tell you about, if you're not already listening to our noontime lives, so I go live with just coaching. Okay. If you want to know what coaching is, I have been doing it every day for, I think, 6 weeks as a live. I do it at noon Tuesday through Sunday. So I'm doing it 7 days a week. And then I do it at 12:30 on Mondays because I have a client call that was pre-existing before the Facebook Lives. Okay. So that is super fun and super interesting. And we cover a lot, and we cover, so I do a different topic every week, and this week I'm doing declaring your results out in the world. And on Sunday I talk about what that topic is and how it shows up in our lives, and then over the course of the week I dive into very specific topics. So on Mondays, we talk about weight. On Tuesdays, we talk about drinking. On Wednesdays, we talk about work. On Thursdays, we talk about incoming money. On Fridays, we talk about outgoing money. And on Saturdays, we talk about relationships. And people love these. They're super interesting. They are archived here on the Proofing Box. So I do them, I like simulcast them on the Proofing Box. And then they're also archived on the YouTube page. So if you don't know about our YouTube page, go and like us on the YouTube page. I have like tons and tons and tons of videos there on the YouTube page. And then finally, the other thing that I wanted to throw out, I don't talk about this a whole lot on the podcast. But I have a upcycled shipping container called the Locker, guys. And if you are looking to get space fast, okay, because you want to get your animals out into the marketplace, you want to sell your products under your own label, under USDA production or your state production or whatever, I actually have a space for you, okay? I'm working super hard on creating slaughter space with this. Right now, this is just fabrication, value-added processing space, but it's like, honestly, let's get on a call and let's talk about that, because we can have you cutting your own meat on your own farm. All you need is sewage, water, and electricity, guys, and we work with you on getting everything squared away, and we can be up and running as soon as you make a decision and send payments in. We have leasing options, guys. There's literally no reason not to be doing this, right? So I wanted to throw that out there in case you don't know about it. It's called The Locker, and you can go to sfbdi.com, which of course stands for the Smallholder Food Business Development Institute. Get your locker, okay? And you can also find that on the Proofing Box. All right, so with all of that, those are all the announcements I think that we have. I think that's enough. But today we are talking about trace and lotting, and I wanted to talk about this because this is what we're doing in the coaching group called the Power Group, right? And we do trace and lotting because it's incredibly, incredibly important, okay? And the goal for this month in the Power Group is to have a functioning trace and lotting program, right? And I get that doesn't seem like the world's sexiest outcome, but let me tell you, I guarantee you that when you go diving into your freezer to figure out what you can sell people, you really need to have your trace and lotting program together, because if you don't, guess what, friends? It's not clear that you can sell that because you don't know if it's conformed with government regulations, okay? And so if the result that we are trying to create, all right, and my recommendation to you is to join the Power Group and create this result with us. But if the result we're trying to create is a functioning trace and lotting program, what do we need to do? All right. And here's my recommendation. You never jump into the how, okay? Because you can Google just as well as I can how to do trace and lotting, and you will end up even more confused than when you started, okay? And that's not actually what we are going for, okay? We are going for the ability to actually do the work that we said we were going to do, right? And when we do that, it feels a lot better. I mean, I don't know any other way to say this, but it really feels a lot better, okay? And um you're much more likely to to do the work when um you're much more likely to do the work when you feel good about it, okay? And I am providing you a way to feel better about the work that you are doing of trace and lotting, okay? And so, what does this actually look like? Okay. It looks like understanding that when you do trace and lotting, you are actually creating wealth in your life, right? When you do trace and lotting well, you decrease waste. Decreasing waste always creates wealth. When you do trace and lotting really well, you are also creating community, right? And for those of you who listen to me a lot, you know where this is going, right? You create community by increasing customer value. When you are addressing wastes, you are increasing customer value. That creates trust and credibility and community within within like your stakeholders. Okay, that's amazing. And then finally, the third component of what we talk about when we talk about managing our minds is compliance. And when you commit to building trust and credibility and creating wealth, and you commit to the compliance aspect, like I don't have any other way to say this to you all. If you're making food, you are in a line of work that requires compliance, guys, and there's just some reality of that you've got to show up to. This is a regulated industry, and you either agree to comply with the regulations or you don't. And if you don't want to, it doesn't mean anything about you. You just might want to find a different line of work, okay? But when you're in compliance with your trace and lotting program and the government regulations and all that sort of stuff, you have a much higher chance of being in compliance with labeling laws, and you have a much higher chance of being in compliance with the recall laws that you are subjected to. Both USDA and FDA have a recall that you are subjected to. Okay. And that, I mean, it means something to be in conformance with that, because if God forbid a recall happens and you don't have that stuff at the ready, you can get in trouble for that too. So not only are you getting in trouble for having like adulterated food in the marketplace, you're getting in trouble because you can't execute a recall plan because you don't have trace and lotting in place in a way that conforms with government regulations. Like, don't do that nonsense, people. Okay. And so I want to dive into what an actual, so before I do that, when we take wealth, when we're building wealth, when we're building community, and we're putting compliance into place, what that feels like is freedom. Okay? Building wealth and community and compliance feels like freedom. It feels like being able to sleep at night. It feels like being able to deal with your regulators from a place of, I totally get we can solve these problems. It feels like knowing what you're supposed to do and going out and doing it and building the business that you were meant to build that supports you in the way that you want to live. That's what it's all about, right? And then being an example of what's possible so that other people can do that too. Doesn't that sound amazing? Like, that's kind of what we do around here. All right. And so what I want to do is I just want to take the next couple of minutes. This really doesn't take that long at all to explain to you what trace and lotting looks like. Okay. So you put it in an SOP. Okay. And you decide how you are going to date code things. Okay. Most people use Julian dating. Okay, so you can Google what Julian dating is, but essentially it's assigning a value of 001 to 365 to the day of the year. Okay, so most people will do like a 2-digit year. So 20, and then whatever today's Julian date is, which I probably should have looked up. But hey, most people listen to this in replay, so it would have been wrong anyway, right? And so if you Google what's today's Julian date, you can start your lot coding that way. Yeah, all right. And then for different products, you can add extensions. You can add as much unique identification as you want to your different products. But if you do a 2-digit year and a 3-digit Julian date, that's going to simplify all of your paperwork. It's going to decrease waste. It's something your people can really understand. Like, I get a package of something and I see a Julian date on it, and I've got a pretty good idea about what's going on. So it builds a ton of trust and credibility, creates a trace and lotting system so that you can actually recall should you need to. Okay. There are only a couple of more steps. I told you this was easy. Like, honestly, I'm like reading my trace and lotting SOP. It's got 3 bullet points. Okay. Lot numbers are going to be recorded on your production sheet. So there's no point in assigning lot numbers to things unless you actually document it. So not only does it have to be on the product itself, it's got to be on the paperwork that's associated with the product, guys. Right? Your make sheets, your production logs, whatever it is that you call them, you have to have lotting for all your raw ingredients as well, because most of y'all will get caught out in a recall because of something that came in the door adulterated, not because of something you did. I swear 9/10 of the recalls I run is because it's not because of something that you all did. It's because of a supply that you got that was adulterated by the time it got there. And so you've got to keep track of that. And you've got to be able to tie your raw products to your finished products. And we do that by lot coding. Okay. You can have receiving lot coding, like a lot of people get stuff that's already lot coded. Okay. And you record that. So this is bullet point number 3. Ingredient lots will be recorded on receiving and storage logs. Okay. So you get your receiving and storage logs and you make sure you write down what comes in and what lot code. Now, there are a ton of computer systems that will do this for you. Right. And I get it. And I want to caution you about computer systems, my friends. They are only good as they understand your system. And I have never been in a food production facility that does not spend as much time arguing with their computer system as actually doing the work. Because if you systematize a production system you do not understand, you have 2 problems. You have a production system problem and you have an automation problem. Okay. And I guarantee you, you will spend your time solving your automation problem because it will feel more urgent to solve. But what you really got is a production problem. Okay. So, pen and paper, friends. Lot codes on receiving logs, write down your ingredients, your raw products as they come in, write down the lot code, and then just transfer that to your production sheets and your make sheets. It's really that simple. You've got to maintain these records for however long you maintain records, right? 3 years is a pretty good benchmark if you're eventually going to go for GFSI. What's it called? Auditing. Okay. And 3 years would exceed most shelf lives that we actually worry about. Okay. It's really that simple. It's like truly, truly that simple. Okay, so I want to go through a couple of questions that I got this week on office hours. If you want to hear office hours, you got to join us on the proofing box. So that's what we got for the podcast this week. I love you all, and we'll have an interview next week, and then I'll be back live teaching HACCP again in 2 weeks. See y'all. Bye-bye.